A little over a year since Warner Bros. Shockingly threw away Batgirl, they're back at it again. They recently announced that they will be shelving the upcoming live-action CG hybrid film Coyote vs. Acme and throwing it in the vault to never release, all for a $30 million tax write-off. The move follows veteran animation executive Bill Damaskis taking over Warner Animation Group earlier this year. Quote, "For 3 years, I was lucky enough to make a movie about Wile E. Coyote, the most persistent, passionate, and resilient character of all time," filmmaker Dave Green wrote on X after the story was initially published. "I was surrounded by a brilliant team, who poured their souls into the project. Along the ride, we were embraced by test audiences who rewarded us with fantastic scores." The feature, which sources believe cost around $72 million to make, had key Warner talent involved in front of the camera and behind the scenes. It stars John Cena, who starred in Max's popular DC show Peacemaker, and who is due to return for the second season. And DC Studios co-head James Gunn produced the feature and worked on the story. Warner's is intent on staying in business with the filmmaker Green, and is developing a project at sister movie arm New Line Cinema. Quote, "With the relaunch of Warner Bros. Pictures Animation in June, the studio had shifted its global strategy to focus on theatrical releases," a Warner Bros. Motion Picture Group spokesman said in a statement. "With this new direction, we have made the difficult decision not to move forward with Coyote vs. Acme. We have tremendous respect for the filmmakers, casts, and crew, and are grateful for their contributions to the film." The previous Warner's regime greenlit the movie in December 2020 as a production for HBO Max, its fledgling streaming service. It later announced that Coyote would get a release on June 21, 2023. No trailer was ever released for the film, leading to questions about the studio's intentions for the project. In April 2022, Warner's removed the feature from its release calendar, putting Barbie on its June 21st release date instead. Warner's shelved the $90 million Batgirl and the $40 million animated feature Scoob Holiday Haunt in August 2022 as a tax write-down, with the newly installed Warner Bros. Discovery CEO David Zaslav seeking to find $3 billion in savings across the newly created media conglomerate. Both Batgirl and Scoob were intended for streaming, and Zaslav also shifting strategy in favor of theatrical releases. The move caused an outcry among the creative community. Sources say that the studio, in this case, at least gave the filmmakers advance notice of the decision. "I do my best not to let any news make me too upset, but the fact that this is becoming a pattern from Zaslav and Warner Bros. Is unacceptable. This film has been done filming for over a year, and in every sense of the word was a completed film with very good test scores. With names like James Gunn and John Cena behind the project, and this being one of their most popular IPs, there's no way that it wouldn't have made that $30 million back that they got from their little tax write-off. Heck, I'm sure it would have made that much opening weekend. But now no one is ever going to see the film. I can only hope that when another company inevitably buys this dying studio, that they release these finished products for audiences to see. I understand this is a business at the end of the day, but it is completely unfair to the filmmakers, cast and crew of these productions to just scrap their finished work, because it won't become a billion-dollar hit. I know firsthand the blood, sweat, and tears that go into making a film, and it would be gut-wrenching to know that the work I did was going to be stored in a vault, never to be released. Looney Tunes is one of the biggest properties they have at Warner, and it's one that has kind of been ignored lately, so I'm sure many fans would love for a new movie that takes them back to their childhood. I grew up on these cartoons, and this was a film that I was really looking forward to seeing with my family at some point. And with the film's mix of live action and CG, it was talked up to be the next Roger Rabbit, something a movie hasn't succeeded in doing in quite a bit. If it reached that level of commercial success, it would have done way more than $30 million. But instead Zaslav thought it wasn't worth the cost to release or to sell to another buyer. I was completely caught off guard when they shelved Batgirl last year, and hated the way it did the cast and crew dirty. But I was able to get over that at least because I'm not a big DC fan, don't have the same attachment to these properties as I do with Looney Tunes. But this is very upsetting to see, and it sets a bad precedent for the future if studio executives are just able to throw away completed movies for financial reasons. It was heartbreaking seeing people who worked on the film take to social media to share their thoughts on this and how much they enjoyed working on the film, only for it to never be released. They had high test scores, interested buyers, but I'm convinced that the people running this show at Warner are anti-art, and only care about the business side of it all, which needs to change, because eventually this is going to happen again. How do you feel about Warner shelving this movie? Let me know in the comments below. Remember to like the video, and subscribe for more industry news, and remember to follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Thank you all for watching, and remember, the Force will be with you, always.